Good afternoon. On behalf of Appropriations Committee Chairwoman Maggie McIntosh, welcome to the voting session of the Appropriations Committee for Friday, March 11, 2022. First bill we have is House Bill 374. Delegate Young. You can mute yourself.
Sorry, Delegate Janik, Mr. Chairman, give me 1 second. We'll move to the next one. I'll be ready right when you get to the
We'll
next.
go to House Bill 406. Delegate Rez.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just give me 1 quick second. I need to bring up some documents here. House Bill 406 is the bill that I brought to the committee to deal with the hospital overstay issue. It has had a number of amendments, and I'd like to take this in 2 parts, if I may. There is the original set of amendments that the subcommittee voted on and that came out of subcommittee. Then there's a couple of additional changes that had to be made in the last minute. And so I'm going to take that in front of full committee afterwards. So if you can bear with me on this, so we'll have 2 sets of amendments to do. The first amendment to the bill does a number of things. It strikes provisions for local departments related to removal of children from inpatient facilities, places duties of notice and placement of children on the Maryland Department of Health and Human Services, requires both MDH or DHS to provide beds needed to accommodate foster children needing admission or treatment, requires the departments to pay Medicaid rates to a facility that continues to keep a child in their care after a medical determination establishes that the child must be released or may be released, requires a hospital or facility to ensure that a child is placed in the least restrictive environment, provides immunity for a hospital or facility that is required to extend the stay of a child due to the inability of a department to find a suitable placement, requires the governor to appoint a person to coordinate among the departments and the courts, and adds members to the work group and adds reporting on other states' policies on placement of foster children. So that is the first set of amendments. I'd like to move those and then take questions, and then we can move to the second set if we may.
Motion to move the amendments.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Delegate Resnick.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So the second set that, again, unfortunately, the subcommittee did not have an opportunity to take up makes 3 minor changes. It includes the Department of Human Services in addition to the Department of Health in a few places where we missed both departments that required it. It adds a requirement that a child who does not need to be hospitalized to be put in the least restrictive environment, and a notice requirement for the coordinator to inform the Office of the Public Defender's Mental Health Division of the placement of children in DHS custody who do not require hospitalization. And then it adds additional members to the work group. So I'd like to move those amendments as well.
On the amendments. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. On the bill as amended.
I'd like to move the bill as amended.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Delegate Beitzel, any opposed? Any other opposed? Raise your hand.
We have 1 in the opposition. That's Delegate Beitzel.
And Delegate McKay. You're in
And
opposition.
Delegate McKay. 2 in the opposition. The bill passes.
Okay, next we'll move on back to House Bill 374. Delegate Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciated. HB 374, Maryland School for the Deaf, professional personnel, staff, service designation, and assignment. Essentially, the bill moves professional employees and staff from the Maryland School for the Deaf into the state personnel management system and specifies specific groups and dates in which they need to be moved, and also clarifies and makes sure that anyone that has to be moved from one bargaining unit or into a bargaining unit will not suffer any diminution of benefits or salary in the move. There were no amendments. Move favorable.
Second.
Second. On the bill. All in favor, say aye. Oh, excuse me, any discussion?
Aye.
On the bill, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Delegate Beitzel, Delegate Novotny, Delegate Mangione, Delegate Greist,
Also, can you hear me?
Delegate Kittleman. You have to have your camera on.
Delegate Kittleman, you do have to have your camera on.
I'm sorry, are you on 374? I just.
374, House Bill 374. Any
I'm a no.
opposition?
I'm a no.
So no votes, Delegate Beitzel, Delegate Novotny, Delegate Mangione, Delegate Greist, Delegate McKay, Delegate Metzger. Delegate Kittleman, you have to have your
Yeah,
camera
I
on the
can't,
vote.
I'm driving and I'll get in an accident. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I see it there now. There we go.
It's an option.
I tried turning it on, it didn't come.
Well, the rules are you have to have your
Delegate-
camera on.
Yeah.
So that is the vote.
Delegate Kittleman, we cannot record you.
Either way, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Ms. Wareheim, the votes tabulated for House Bill 374.
Yes, sir. We had a party line vote.
Next, we'll move on to House Bill 438, Delegate Corman.
Mr. Chairman,
Delegate Beitzel.
may I ask a question? Since we moved the order of bills and Delegate Resnick presented his bill, I inadvertently voted the wrong way. Can I change my vote on House Bill 406 and vote in the affirmative?
The vote's already been taken.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're now moving on to House Bill 438, Delegate Corman.
Okay, House Bill 438, WMATA Dedicated Funding Amending Act of 2022, aka the One Trick Pony Act. This bill alters the funding formula for the WMATA dedicated funding by shifting the escalator clause from one account to another. There was one amendment. The amendment changes the start date for the switch to fiscal year 28. I would move the amendment.
On the amendment, any motion?
With the amendment.
Go second.
Second.
Any discussion? On the amendments, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? On the bill as amended, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Delegate Greist, Delegate Mangione, Delegate Novotny. Ms. Wareheim.
I believe Delegate Kilman is trying to vote no. Mr. Vice Chair, I can see her on the screen.
Okay, thank you very much, Delegate Corman. Delegate Kittleman's a no.
Thank you. I have Delegate Kittleman, Delegate Novotny, Delegate Mangione, and Delegate Beitzel. Were you?
Grice.
No, I'm a yes.
It was
Okay.
Delegate Grice, sure.
Grace, thank you.
Next bill is House Bill 511, Delegate Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the University of Maryland Institute for Public Leadership, establishing a public leadership institute at the university within the School of Public Policy. There are two amendments. They're both part and parcel to the same. First is technical, and the second clarifies that this money is not included in the higher education formula, which reduces the fiscal note a little bit and was always the intent. I will move the amendments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? On the amendments, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes. Delegate Beitzel. You're opposed?
You're on mute.
Muted.
Please unmute yourself.
I'm okay with amendment. Sorry.
So all in favor, yeah, okay, everyone supports the amendments. Okay, on the bill as amended.
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any discussion? On the bill as amended, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any up-
We have
any-
Delegate Beitzel, Delegate Greist, Delegate Mangione, and Delegate Novotny in the opposition,
And
Delegate Kittleman.
and Delegate Kittleman.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, we're on House Bill 602 now.
Okay, let's hear House Bill 602, Delegate Bridges.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 602 is for the appropriation of operating funds for the Sodley Plantation. This bill came in with an appropriation from 500,000, but there is an amendment that changes the amount of the appropriation from 500,000 to 350,000 in fiscal 2024, 375,000 in 2025, and 400,000 in fiscal 2026, sunsetting into 2026. So those are the amendments. I ask to move the amendment.
Okay, all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? House Bill 602, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we have Delegate Beitzel, Delegate Grice, Delegate Mangione.
Yes, ma'am, I have all three recorded in the negative.
All right.
I'm sorry, 4.
Madam Speaker, or I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Uh-huh.
I just had a quick question. I probably should have asked, but just for clarity, so I understand. For a project, I know I should know this, but why a project like that, is it funding in the operating budget opposed to getting capital money or even like bond money?
This goes actually through.
That's what my concern is.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Madam Chair, if you mind.
I don't mind. Go ahead.
This actually goes through sort of like there are a bunch of miscellaneous grants that go through DPW, including Western Maryland Scenic Railroad. There's the Maryland Zoo at Baltimore. And so those miscellaneous grants go actually through DPW, and which makes this part of those miscellaneous grants.
Okay, so then, okay, I mean, I'm just trying to have better knowledge. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, let's move to House Bill 632, Delegate Corman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 632 is the Baltimore East-West Corridor Transit Study requirements. Came out of committee, favorable with amendments 5-1. Obviously, there are amendments. Amendment 1 is technical. Amendment 2 specifies that the appropriations in the bill are contingent upon the receipt of federal funds. You may recall we did a similar bill for a Southern Maryland rapid transit system last year to sort of allow them to move through, or in this case, back through the National Environmental Policy Act process, contingent on the receipt of federal dollars. I would move the amendments.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? On the bill as amended, anyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
In the opposition, we have Delegates Grice, Delegate Beitzel, Delegate Mangione, and Delegate Novotny. We have 4 in the opposition.
And Delegate
And Delegate Kittleman.
And Delegate Kittleman.
Yeah, okay. We now move to House Bill 734, Delegate Solomon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 734 is the Student Financial Assistance Bill. I wanted to just start off by thanking, there's a lot of folks who put a lot of effort into this bill. It reflects a lot of different policy changes that folks were working on, and just appreciate the hard work of our council and our subcommittee on this. So obviously amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2, I'll kind of walk through some of the changes that you can see on the reprint. So we've made a couple of changes to some of the underlying policy that was in the bill to begin with, as well as adding, again, other pieces that were important and often in other people's bills. The rationale on that was it's just easier for MHAC and the higher ed system to sort of incorporate all of the changes in our financial aid system in one bill, as opposed to multiple different bills that may also have different effective dates. So the first change is we added a tweak in the near completer program that will allow the near completer grants to go to address the nearly 5,000 students in Maryland who graduated from high school but did not immediately enroll in college. That's something that both MHEC and MSDE have raised as a point of concern, primarily due to the pandemic. So we want to try to be able to capture those students to get them to enroll in higher education. The next amendment, we increased the appropriation to the the college outreach program. That was another bill that we had considered. We want to make sure that we have the funding for many of the nonprofits in the state that work really closely with our high school students to make sure that they can enroll. On page, the next addition to the bill or change to the bill is on page 5 of the reprint. We struck the language. The original bill would have increased the overall pot of the EA, or excuse me, would have increased the maximum grant for the EA grant from 3,000 to 7,000. We decided to strike that, and instead we're just increasing the overall pot of money that is allocated to the EA grant and the GA grant. Part of the rationale for that was if we had increased the grant to $7,000, it just would have increased the overall awards to the same number of students that are getting it. Currently, we have a wait list, give or take, right around now 9,000 to 10,000 students. And so what we're doing here is, instead of increasing the overall award size, where by allocating more money to the grant, we're increasing the number of students that will actually get the EA grant. So we made the decision that it was more important for more students in the state to get some amount of financial aid than fewer students in the state to get more financial aid. We want to be able to help those students get over the hurdle and get them into the system. So we struck that. On the next page, you'll also remember the original bill had policy in around the GA cliff. The GA cliff is essentially if a student's income is even $1 more than the cutoff for renewal, a student can lose sometimes upwards of $15,000 or more in financial aid. So it's a pretty huge drop, going from what is essentially covering almost the entire cost of a four-year institution in the state to a small percentage of it. So what we did with this is we did away with the cliff. If you are if you remain eligible for a Pell Grant, even if your income increases just a little bit over what the renewal threshold is, you will still remain eligible for the GA grant. That is we don't want to do anything to disincentivize a student from getting a summer job to pay for, maybe pay their rent or pay for food. We also don't want to, disincentivize a family from getting a promotion. And in all of the instances that we saw, that's often what was happening. This was a recommendation from MHEC's Financial Aid Advisory Committee. And so we are just codifying their recommendation in statute. The next amendment below the GA cliff is the actual appropriated mandate. It was originally, the new number in here is to reflect, again, the changes that we made working with MHEC to make sure that we could capture an elimination of the wait list for the EA grant, as well as the additional amount of money that may be needed to cover those folks from the GA cliff. The next change to the bill includes the good delegate from Allegheny County, Delegate McKay's bill, to add the private career school addition. That's HB 574 on the Conroy Scholarship. The next change was to add Delegate Pippy's bill, HB 9, which amends the Afghanistan and Iraq War Veterans program to include stepson and stepdaughter. We closed, made sure that we didn't leave anybody out from that original intent. The next change to the bill adds an appropriation to the Proctor Scholarship for HBCUs. And I believe that is all. And I'm sorry, and we added an additional sum of money to double the amount of money for the Conroy Scholarship, which goes to children of fallen first responders. So we've doubled that funding from $2 million to $4 million. And with that, motion to move the amendments.
All right.
Second.
On the amendments, yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah, let me just say this before we vote. This is a really, I think, important bill that we are passing this session. You see how we've incorporated many ideas from various delegates across the state, across party lines, because I think the speaker, myself, the committee, subcommittee chair, and vice chair believe that in this time where we have sufficient funds, helping students get better access to higher education in this state is the best thing to do. So I'm really very proud of the work that the subcommittee did, and I just wanted to say that. Are there any further questions? All those in favor of the bill as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
I thank you very much for your work.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next is House Bill 773, Delegate Mangione.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a pretty straightforward, simple bill. It establishes the broker rebate fee fund in the Department of General Services to provide funding to support the implementation and regulation, administration, and enforcement of the real estate transactions on behalf of state agencies. And it says the fund basically allows DGS to retain rebate fees as those unused funds will no longer revert now to the general fund. So pretty straightforward.
Is there an amendment?
That's
No amendment.
no, I
I'm
don't think
sorry.
so.
I'm sorry.
No amendment, I don't think.
Oh, my gosh, look at this.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Delegate Corman?
Is there a fiscal note on this bill, Madam Chair?
Huh? Oh,
Ask if there's a fiscal note on the bill.
No, can't be. Where's Michelle? Can she help with that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll read it for floor, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we add sponsors?
Oh, my God. Nah. Get in, yeah. Delegate Valentino Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm resisting the temptation to hold the bill for purposes of
No.
regarding SNAP.
No.
Yeah, I suppose you'd like to.
And don't give this a wonderful delegate from Baltimore County a hard time on the floor either, okay?
Well, I was hoping we could put an amendment on there way, so on the floor, we can, one of us will
Yeah,
actually
no.
get an amendment as long as he's the floor leader.
Delegate Solomon, do you really have your hand up here?
I was just curious if the good delegate could tell me what kind of testimony we received, who was opposed, who was for it.
I don't the only support we got was from the agency. We didn't have anything opposition that I
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor of House Bill 773 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much. Delegate Resnick.
Yes, Madam Chair. House Bill 794. This is the second of Delegate Rosenberg's opioid restitution fund bills. This is the bill that establishes the advisory council. We have a couple of amendments. The amendment changes the membership and the staffing of the advisory council by adding a member who is recommended by MACO, as well as requiring the opioid operational command center to staff the council. I'd like to move the amendments.
Okay. On the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? On the bill as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Very good. House Bill 891. This is the bill, as you may recall, that specifies new parameters for the Spending Affordability Committee reports that we will need next year when we have new budget authority, and also brings in reports from the Maryland Department of Transportation to be shared with the Spending Affordability Committee. There were no amendments, so I move the bill.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. Senate Bill 930.
House Bill 930.
House Bill 930. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Now, this is for the Senator William H. Amos Fire Rescue and Ambulance Fund, the property acquisition and construction. So the bill actually just authorizes us to be able to use the fund to acquire land for the purpose of rehabilitation or construction of a fire, rescue, or ambulance facility outside of an adjacent existing fire, rescue, or ambulance facility. Right now, it's restricted just to be able to use the funds for an adjacent facility, adjacent land. This just removes the restriction so that the funds can be used outside of adjacent property. There are no amendments. I ask you move the bill.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Okay,
No one opposed.
let's move to House Bill 1088. This is the African American Heritage Preservation Program Annual Appropriation and Alterations. The bill increases funding for the African American Heritage Preservation Program and modifies specific requirements in the program. There were no amendments. Is that correct, Michelle? No amendments?
No amendments. This
Okay.
is the speaker's bill.
Yeah, yeah, I know whose bill it is. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, did you have a question, Delegate Young?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say, as Chair of the Irish Caucus, I fully support this bill and everything associated with it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
And in the opposition, we have Delegate Beitzel, Delegate Mangione, Delegate Novotny. Delegate Kittleman, are you in the opposition or are you good?
Good.
I'm
All right.
gonna assume you're good.
Yep. All right. Delegate Resnick, 1482.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. 1482, we just heard this bill. This is the whoa, my lips have stopped working. Divestiture of our pension fund from any Russian investments. As I said, we just heard this, sponsored by Delegate Learman as the chair of the Joint Committee on Pensions. There are no amendments. I'd like to move the bill.
All right. On the bill, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Delegate Solomon, let's do House Bill 89.
Madam Chair, before we go to the bills that we are secondary on, I think you missed House Bill 1030.
I did?
Yes.
I did.
Delegate Smith.
I'm sorry. House Bill 1030.
Thank you.
Delegate Smith, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. So House Bill 1030 passed out of subcommittee favorable with 2 amendments. The purpose of this bill is to provide some streamlining and efficiencies around MHEC, the Maryland Higher Education Commission's procedures as they pertain to scholarships. We want to ensure that young people applying for scholarships are notified in a timely manner so that they can avail themselves of that scholarship and make a truly informed decision about whether or not they will matriculate at a particular school or not. We also want to ensure that all of the meetings of MHEC are more transparently available to ensure that there's proper recording, storage of those recordings of the meetings consistent with Public Meeting Act requirements and ensure that they create the technology decisions to carry out those parts of the bill. The 2 amendments, one is technical, and the second one authorizes the comptroller to disclose tax information to the Maryland Higher Education Commission in the same manner as other state agencies. It also requires the commission to design a scholarship application that is more like a common application for the scholarships that they administer. It also requires MHEC to update their regulations consistent with the new date that I mentioned earlier. And that means they need to ensure that their technology is capable of doing all of this in a timely manner. And then lastly, it provides the intent of the General Assembly to establish an Office of Student Financial Assistance as a separate independent agency in the fiscal year 2024. Move the amendments.
All right, on the amendments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? On the bill as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Delegate Grice?
We have Delegate Rice in the opposition. Anyone else? No.
All right. All right, the remaining bills, well, the next 3 bills, is this correct? We are secondary?
We are, Madam Chair.
Actually, wait, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. That last bill, that was House, what?
That was 1030.
I'm sorry, I'm a yes on that. I apologize. I forgot we went back. I
That's
got ahead of
quite all
myself.
right.
I got ahead of myself. Sorry.
No worries. We have a
That's quite all
unanimous
right.
yes.
Thank you. All right, House Bill 89, Delegate Solomon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the next 3 bills are part of the Speaker and the Senate President's package on childcare. House Bill 89, Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 basically strikes essentially the program that was laid out in the bill and redesigns the provider support grants essentially to use the $50 million that was allocated in next year's budget. Put some guardrails around it, put some priorities for childcare providers to receive grants. They have to have a demonstrated financial hardship. They have to not receive, they cannot have received a previous hardship or stabilization grant, and they need to serve particularly vulnerable populations. So again, instead of creating a new program, this bill now just directs the money that is currently allocated in next year's budget.
Okay. Delegate Rice, do you have a question?
I do. So there is no new money on this thing. So I think I recall looking at the fiscal note. It looked like there was, but there is no additional spending, right? You're just saying.
No. So the original fiscal note, even though the bill as drafted didn't have an amount allocated, I think DLS sort of extrapolated what they thought would likely be allocated based on the creation of a new program. But the current stripped version of the bill, the amended version, has essentially, it just allocates the money that was allocated in the budget, which was $50 million.
All right, if that's the case, I'll be voting for this bill. Thank you.
And I believe, Michelle can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was unanimous in Ways and Means.
Very good. So on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Delegate Grice, do you have your hand up? Okay.
So on the bill as amended, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, House Bill 993.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is another of the childcare bills. So this bill creates a revolving capital grant fund, capital grant loan fund for childcare providers to be able to expand, set up new centers, to renovate existing centers. It's meant to bolster what has been a loss of about nearly 1,000 or more providers over the last few years during the COVID pandemic. Amendment number 1 on the bill is technical. Amendment number 2, the primary piece of that is it swaps out essentially the Department of Education for the Department of Commerce. That was at the request of both agencies. So the bill is originally written, had the grant being administered by MSDE with Commerce as an advisor. We've now switched it. Commerce is going to administer the grant with MSDE advising it. Again, both agencies felt like Commerce was in a better place to actually get the money out the door. And then the only other change is a slight tweak to the preferential order of priority given to centers who apply for the grant.
Okay, we have a couple of questions. Delegate Metzger.
Yes, was the administration good with this?
Yeah, so we have worked closely with MSDE and Commerce on this. I don't know how the governor's office felt about the appropriation to it, but both agencies were very supportive of the goal behind the bill.
Delegate Grice.
Thank you. Does this include at-home daycares, or is this only centers?
It does, yeah. If family providers are included, and there is actually a provision in the bill that makes it clear. The last thing we wanted was, so let's say hypothetically, Commerce were to give out, $3 or $4 million a year in grants because we want it to be revolving. We don't want all of those grants to go to just one provider. It might be a large nonprofit or even a for-profit. So there's language in the bill to make sure that there's a variety of grants. And we've also we're going to put language in the budget. The Department of Commerce has a program to create sort of a shared service model to make sure that nonprofits can work, especially small nonprofits, get the support they need on the back end on their administrative side of things. And so that'll hopefully help more family providers be able to take advantage of this. And we worked really closely with the Family Child Care Association on putting this together.
Okay, that would be my only concern, is that we could potentially use this money to put additions on someone's personal home, and then they may or may not go out of business. And also too, I know that they're at the local level, oftentimes like through like the county commerce, or it could be a municipal, like Main Street program, they'll use low interest loans for businesses. Have we basically tapped out on these? And is that because oftentimes these sorts of projects, they would qualify for those low interest loans? I just I guess I'm asking the question because this might be a duplication of services that already exist.
Yeah. So, oftentimes, childcare technically would qualify. There's a couple of very There are a couple of programs in commerce that a childcare provider could qualify under, but it tends to be really difficult for them. Those programs tend to be much more geared towards larger businesses. And when we talk about administrative barriers, it's really difficult. So this program is specifically geared with outreach, with with community engagement towards the childcare community. And so, I think the point of this is we know that, and again, there was wide support from business organizations from across the state of all stripes. We know that if we don't have childcare, nobody really can get back to work. And so we felt like there was we made the policy decision that this was important enough to have its own separate fund, specifically allocated towards childcare.
Okay, yeah, very good. Thank you.
Delegate Beitzel.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. What was the vote in the other committee?
I believe it was unanimous, Delegate, but I'll defer to Michelle.
Yeah, they just voted it unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? On the bill as amended, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
We have delegates Novotny and Mangione in the negative.
Mangione.
Add Grice to that list too.
Right.
Grice as well. All right.
Okay, House Bill 1100, Delegate Solomon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the last of the bills that we're jointly referred on as part of the child care package. This bill sets up a series of bonuses for currently credentialed child care staff, provides bonuses for new hires to incentivize folks to come into child care and also get their credential as a child care provider or staff person, and then also provides new hire assistance to child care providers. Again, the genesis of this bill was one of the other reasons we hear why we have such a great shortage of childcare capacity right now is because of staffing issues. And so this bill, we worked closely with the childcare community to come up with something that we felt like could help kind of stem the loss, and not only stem the loss, but bring in new folks into the childcare industry as well. The only committee amendment is some tweaks that were made around the amount of time somebody has to be employed to get the bonus, as well as some of the eligibility requirements. Would move the amendments.
Okay, on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? On the bill as amended, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
In the opposition, we have delegates Novotny, Mangione, and Grice and Beitzel.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I explain my vote for a minute?
Oh, wait a minute. I need to clarify something. Delegate Kittleman, are you in opposition?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right. Yes.
Thank you,
Go
Madam
ahead.
Chair. On a day like today and explaining my vote, I think one of the hardest lessons that I'm learning down here is about how many pro-lifer leaders are intent on only changing or outlining a procedure without regard for what is really needed for women and babies. And one of the purest pro-life things that we can do is something like this bill, which ensures daycare. Thank you.
Delegate Beitzel, you're opposed, correct?
Delegate Beitzel, you're on mute.
Excuse me, it took me a while. So the vote on this one is, am I the only one that voted in the opposition?
No, sir. There
Okay,
were four in the opposition.
Three. You're in the opposition.
I'm in the opposition.
Okay. All right.
I actually had Beitzel, Grice, Mangione, and Novotny in the opposition on this one.
All right. The next series of bills were withdrawn. House Bill 904, House Bill 983, House Bill 1028-12, House Bill 1260, House Bill 1401. Going once, going twice, gone. And that concludes the bill hearings for today.
Madam
Just,
Chair, Madam Chair,
yes.
I just wonder, is there a procedure while we're still in session to change a vote?
I usually don't do that. Which one
That's
did
all.
you did? Yeah, just leave it alone. Card
Just,
plate,
yeah, I'll just leave it alone. I'm good. No problem. Thanks.
Thank you. Now, next week, leading up to crossover, we will be voting multiple times. And we will try always to get the vote list to everyone as soon as we have it put together, but just be patient with us. And remember, if there is a bill that you feel uncomfortable voting on, we could hold it, but we won't hold it long because it's, crossover. But I do appreciate this committee's, voting and the decorum and the debate and the respect of the floor leaders that you have given. So with that, I just want to say, why don't you have a great weekend, everybody. The other is I do need to see the subcommittee chairs in room 350. This does not include pensions and personnel, just the subcommittee chairs and the vice chair in room 350 immediately. And I think the vice chair has another announcement he wanted to make. Am I
Thank you
correct?
very much. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We do have an important announcement to make. If Committee Counsel Michelle Lambert could come on the screen. Thank you very much, Ms. Lambert. Ms. Lambert, we have a very important question to ask you. Yesterday, we had a very extensive and busy day yesterday with bill hearings. And so I apologize. I was remiss in not making a very important announcement. But yesterday, our committee counsel, Michelle Lambert, she celebrated her birthday. So on behalf of Chairwoman Maggie McIntosh and the entire Appropriations Committee, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday to
Thanks,
you.
everyone. This is
Happy
my nightmare.
birthday to
Oh
you.
my God.
Happy
Quick,
birthday,
get
dear
it.
Michelle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, I
Have a great
one-
weekend, everybody.
I have one announcement. Yeah, Rick and I will be at the Holiday Inn this weekend entertaining. If you want
Oh.
to come down and have any, we will take requests.
Oh dear.
Oh, God help us.
I'll be at the two guys tonight.
Oh my goodness. You all have a good weekend. I think it started. Bye.